My biggest issue with Zorhan Mamdani is that I can never remember his name. I always end up saying something stupid like Zoltan Mamdazi. Now, for the few of you who haven't heard of this guy yet, he's the New York City mayoral candidate who made waves when he defeated the far more established and establishment candidate Andrew Cuomo. Love that dude's last name, though, for the nomination. Zorhan is an unabashed democratic socialist who supports free public transportation, free public child care, city-owned grocery stores, a rent freeze, and a $30 an hour minimum wage. He's a critic of Israel, going so far as to say that he would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu if he were to ever visit New York City. So, of course, right-wing pundits and the Democratic establishment alike have declared him Satan and gone into absolute goddamn conniptions over his primary victory. The New York Times wrote that he doesn't deserve a spot on the ballot. Donald Trump called him a 100% communist lunatic. Pretty wild when you get Trump and the New York Times to agree on something, don't you think? So today, we're going to look at some of the most unhinged reactions to Mamdani, because that just sounds like my idea of a good time. Let's start with Laura Loomer, who says Muslims destroyed New York City on 9/11, and a Muslim communist is about to destroy the entire city for eternity. You know what bothers me the most about such statements? It's not the repugnance or even the stupidity. It's the fact that after Mamdani serves as mayor and New York City still exists and hasn't been destroyed for eternity, no one's ever going to hold her accountable for that take. No one's ever going to say, you were wrong. She'll just continue spewing nonsense about whatever new topic has upset her by then. But she's not the only one taking the 9/11 tact or 9/11 tact. Charlie Kirk, my cousin, says, 24 years ago, a group of Muslims killed 2,753 people on 9/11. Now a Muslim socialist is on pace to run New York City. Here's why I reject this criticism. Ideology is complicated. Every sufficiently large ideology under the sun has been killed for at some point. Every religion has had adherents who killed in its name. Every political ideology, every cultural movement, the same. It's very odd to me to lump Zorhan Mamdani in with the Islamists who perpetrated 9/11 when those hijackers were mainly from Saudi Arabia, where LGBT people are violently persecuted by the government. Zorhan Mamdani, by contrast, has been an ally to gay people. In Saudi Arabia, women are expected to wear the full abaya or risk punishment. Zorhan is married to this chick. He's pretty clearly an altogether different kind of Muslim than the ones who attacked the country on 9/11. Just like a Unitarian pastor is not the same sort of Christian as the guy bombing the abortion clinic. But let's move on to the reaction from the big orange bastard himself. It's finally happened. The Democrats have crossed the line. Zorhan Mamdani, a 100% communist lunatic, has just won the Dem primary on his way to becoming mayor. We've had radical lefties before, but this is getting a little ridiculous. He looks terrible. His voice is grating. He's not very smart. He's got AOC +3, dummies all backing him. And even our great Palestinian Senator, crying Chuck Schumer, is groveling over him. Yes, this is a big moment in the history of our country. This response is so devoid of anything, even vaguely resembling a point, that if it were posted by anyone but Trump himself, I would not bother to include it. So let's just quickly point some things out. Is he a communist? No. Not by any definition that isn't so watered down that it includes most of Western Europe. Democratic socialist. Does he look terrible? No, he looks average. And by the way, I don't think you should be attacking people when you look like a Halloween pumpkin that got left out on the porch too long. Does he sound terrible? No, he sounds like an average dude. So yeah, this is just a bunch of Trump hot air with no substance. But let's see what Lion Ted's got to say. I know we're all clamoring for that take, right? To all my friends in New York who are not communists, come to Texas. We love freedom and we're not nuts. Now, I can think of a lot of ways to describe Texas, but not nuts is not one of them. I think when Ted Cruz says that, he's thinking of the answer to the question, what's beneath his penis? Not nuts. Let's go a little bit lower down the political ladder to Councilwoman Vicky Palladino, who said, let's talk about how insane it is to elect someone to any major office who hasn't even been a U.S. citizen for 10 years, much less a radical leftist who hates everything the country stands for, blah, blah, blah. You know, one rule of thumb I have with this shit is, would the rhetoric be the same if the situation was equal but opposite? If Zohran Mamdani was a Trump-loving flag waver, would she be making this same argument about citizenship duration? And the answer is, of course not. It also strikes me as weird that she's like trying this whole, oh, he hates everything we stand for. I mean, the dude immigrated here and participated in the most quintessentially American process there is, running for office and winning. And she wants him deported. That's the funny part. And she's not the only one either. Rep. Randy Ogles said, Zohan Little Muhammad Mamdani is an anti-Semitic socialist communist who will destroy the great city of New York. He needs to be deported, which is why I'm calling for him to blah, blah, blah. Here's my letter to AG Pam Bondi. I mean, these fuckers, man, they're too much sometimes, you know? They want to deport a guy who just won a primary in America's most populous city for the crime of disagreeing with them politically? Hard to think of something less American than that. Because what you're essentially trying to do is rob the voters of choice on false pretenses. I mean, the people of New York should have the ability to elect the mayor of their choosing without interference from a bunch of weird wannabe demagogues, okay? Hopefully this unhinged rhetoric about deportation stays just rhetoric, because if it ever becomes more than that, if politicians seriously attempt to denaturalize an elected official just for holding leftist views or for criticizing a foreign government, it wouldn't just be an attack on one man. It would be a declaration of war on the American electorate. It's saying that the people of this country, hey, you're only allowed to make the choices that we, your leaders, allow. And if we don't like your choice, we'll use anything possible to thwart you, to erase your vote. And then, you know what? The people of New York and the people of America in general will have a new choice to make. But we can discuss that choice when and if it becomes necessary. Until then, that is all. Hey everybody, if you liked that video, be sure to subscribe to this channel. Check out the links in the description down below. Leave a comment to let me know what you thought. And all of that good stuff that brings engagement metrics up in the eyes of the almighty YouTube algorithm. Thank you kindly.